All right, welcome back, decoders. This is Decoding with Cody. Thank you guys for tuning in today, wherever you are. Hope you guys are having a great day and everything's good and peaceful. Um, Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you guys can hear me. And I see Joseph's already in the chat. Hey, brother, how you doing? Much love. Hope you're doing well today. Yeah, like I said, give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear me, and make sure the screen is clear. Hello, Coffee Girl. Thank you for the thumbs up. Appreciate that. Hello, Fire and Ice. Hello, Madak Roughstock. Hope you're doing well also. Much love. Hello, Peggy. How you doing? Got 29 in the chat. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Leslie. Welcome. And Suzette, hello. And Birdie, shalom to you as well. Hope you guys, hope the day's not too crazy for you guys. I know my day was all about getting this decode ready. And we're going to go through this painting. And I didn't really expect, and a lot of you guys have probably already seen, Joseph's decode, Joseph Aquaviva 2222, his decode on the painting. Go check that out. I'm going to cover some different things here. So hopefully some new stuff that you guys haven't seen yet. And please hit the thumbs up if you guys would. I really appreciate that, as that helps me out a lot. And if you guys are willing to donate, I have the link at the top of the chat also. So that's how you guys can help me out. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. We got 40 in the chat. Thank you guys for coming. And we're going to talk about this, this painting of King Charles, right? And, a lot of people have already talked about how if you mirror it, you get like a Baphomet, I'm sure you guys have seen the pictures. And somebody who deserves a big shout out is Dr. Savage. I don't know if you're in the chat, Dr. Savage, but post your link. Dr. Savage, I believe, was one of the first ones to mirror this image and find the Baphomet. If you mirror this image, I don't have the image up here, but make sure you guys go give him a sub. He's been really struggling with the fact that people are stealing his finds and not giving him credit. So I just wanted to make sure I give him a big shout out, because he does great work. And he's also, I'm going to leave his link at the end of this video. I'll leave the link in the comments of his channel, along with all the other channels that I recommend. And so without out of the way, yeah, go give Dr. Savage a subscribe. Go give Joseph Aquaviva 2222 a subscribe. Go give Sean, my friend Sean, who's always on here with me. Hello, Shy. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, so let's jump into it, guys. This is the painting. Like I said, most of you guys have already seen this. But make sure. So what I'm gonna connect this to is basically the dragon. Okay, and most of you guys know that King Charles was the Prince of Wales before he was the king, right? And we're gonna go over this book by Thomas Harris, The Red Dragon. And we're going to talk about Donald Trump a bit. We're going to talk about this upcoming event for WWE, which just happens to be called King and Queen of the Ring. So what interesting thing that happens 11 days before this event, King and Queen of the Ring, the king is in the news with a portrait, okay? We're also going to talk about the chemical wedding of Christian Rosencreutz. And this is connected to the Rosicrucians. We're going to talk about the color red, okay? And the rose and the red dragon, right? And we're going to make a few connections to the bridge collapse also. So here we go. The first thing we need to know here is that the painting was done it was released and unveiled on May 14th, 2024, of King Charles with all red. It looks like a monarch butterfly, okay? Like, of course, he's a monarch, so you have a monarch butterfly. And he's holding a sword, guys, and that's also interesting. Or I think he's holding a sword. At least that's what I'm guessing. But yeah, anyway, lots of flower-like symbols on his. This reminds me of a flower, okay, which is going to connect back to the Rosicrucians and the rose. And the guy who did the painting is Jonathan Yeo. And interesting because this guy's last name is Chinese. And we're in the Chinese year of the dragon. And we're going to talk about the red dragon, okay? Also, this guy was born one day after the Pope. And he's born in Saturnalia. So we're going to talk about Saturn later on. And he's born during Saturnalia, okay? So just remember that. Anyways, so you guys know that this portrait was commissioned while King Charles was still Prince of Wales, guys. So this red portrait was commissioned while he was still the prince of the country with the red dragon, okay? So this is where I'm going to make the connection with the red portrait and the red dragon, okay? His son, William, is now the Prince of Wales. But during this time when the painting was supposedly commissioned, he was still Prince of Wales, okay? And the portrait was unveiled 95 days after the dragon year started this year, which is also interesting. I'm not going to talk about the 95, but it's interesting. So, the Queen's death and King Charles' ascension to the throne was September 8th, 2022, okay? And from that day to the unveiling of the portrait was exactly, well, it wasn't exactly, but it was in the 1 year and 35 weeks since he became king, okay? The reason that's interesting is because 1 year and 35 weeks after he became king was 135 day of the year. And this is the day the portrait was unveiled, okay? So the 135th day of the year, the portrait's unveiled, and that was 1 year and 35 weeks after he became king. And his name, his full name, Charles Philip Arthur George, equals 135. So this is a number I've been talking about in my last few decodes. If you guys haven't seen those, you guys might wonder why I'm talking about the 135. Why am I starting out this decode with the 135? Well, it's been a big number lately. So I thought I'd start the decode out with this number because it's obvious, right? His name equals 135. The portrait's unveiled on the 135th day of the year. It's 1 year and 35 weeks after he became king, okay? And now we're going to connect the bridge collapse because I told you guys when the bridge collapse happened, it was in Maryland, right? King Charles' mother was named Elizabeth Mary, and the Queen Elizabeth was a symbol of the Virgin Mary, or basically ritualized as that, right? And the day before the bridge collapse was the Annunciation of the Virgin Mary, okay? And I told you guys that the bridge collapse was all connected to a birth, the birthing or the Annunciation by the angel Gabriel to Mary that she would have a son, okay? In Matthew chapter 128, it talks about the Annunciation. And the day before the bridge collapsed at 1:28 a.m., okay, that was the Annunciation, right? So let's look at this. So the painter of the portrait is Jonathan Yeo, and Jonathan Yeo equals 128, guys. This number has been coming up so often, okay? We just had a bridge collapse in Galveston. I don't have that in my slides, but there was another bridge collapse in Galveston, and Galveston equals 128, okay? Remember, this whole 128 thing, guys, I'm sure a lot of you guys already know this code, but let me go over it one more time. So from the king's coronation to the painting unveiled, okay? And the painting was by Jonathan Yeo, and that equals 128. Well, from the king's coronation to the painting was 12 months and 8 days. So there you go, guys. 128 again, okay? And what's the chances that the guy that paints it equals 128? Now remember, the ship that hit the bridge at 1:28 a.m. that caused the bridge to collapse, which bridge collapse equals 128, the ship was called the Dolly. And this connects because The Dali was named after Salvador Dali, who painted the painting, The Broken Bridge and the Dream. And that equals 128, guys. So you have two paintings here. You have The Bridge and the Broken Dream, which is a painting, which equals 128. And now King Charles' painting is 12 months and 8 days after his coronation, and it's painted by Jonathan Yeo, which equals 128. So again, you have this painting and this painting. I think there's going to be something connected with all these paintings, okay? I'm going to also bring up the Red Dragon painting later on in the decode, okay? But again, what's the chance of all these 128s connecting and the bridge collapses, right? So, and I want to give a big shout out to Zen of Machiavelli on Twitter. I forgot to put his thing here, but if you guys are on Twitter, go subscribe to Zen of Machiavelli, okay? And he pointed out that there was another very famous portrait done of Barack Obama. And remember, it was Barack Obama's movie that came out on 12/8 last year, and it had a bridge collapse in it, okay? And yeah, Joseph is saying that Obama's portrait came out the day before the Queen died, okay? So the day before Charles became king, this portrait came out, okay? And now King Charles' portrait is come out. Well, if you measure the distance between these two men, they were born 12 years, 8 months, and 21 days apart. Okay, do you guys understand what this number is? This is a 128 forwards and a 128 backwards. Do you see this? 128, and then start from the back, 128. Okay. And again, this is from the birth of King Charles to the birth of Barack Obama. And both of them have a portrait, right? That's connected to the 128, right? And again, just to go back to the slide before this, you had the portrait being released 12 months and 8 days after his coronation, right? And the painting of Salvador Dali, The Broken Bridge and the Dream, equals 128, okay? So a big connection here with, oh yeah, I forgot, President Barack Obama equals 128. I forgot to put that in here. Thank you, Joseph. So yeah, in gematria, guys, President Barack Obama equals 128, okay? So again, this is huge. The fact that these two people are born this amount of time span apart, okay? And don't forget, Obama's movie came out on 128 last year, and it had a bridge collapse, okay? Can I speak louder? I don't want to speak too loud. Can you guys not hear me? Can you guys give me a thumbs up in the chat if the sound is good, or I'm not sure why the sound's not coming through. I'm speaking pretty loud, from what I can tell. Can you guys not hear me? Yeah, the painter's birthday is also 12/18. Yeah, so you have the 128 connection again. This guy's birthday is also 1218. You guys understand? And that's going to connect to the alchemy number, the 218 number, okay? Which I'm not going to talk a whole lot about. Oh, okay. I don't know. I just got worried there for a second that I wasn't coming through. Okay. Thank you, guys. Sorry. All right, guys. So let's talk about the 201. All right. You guys know this number. If you guys have been following any of the decoders, you guys know the number 201. And again, thank you, Joseph, for showing me this articles here. This is basically Joseph's find. But anyway, King unveils first official portrait of himself. Okay. So they're calling this King Charles' first official portrait. Okay. And if you type that whole phrase in gematria, King Charles' first official portrait, it equals 201. Okay. What are the chances of that, guys? King Charles' first official portrait, 201. And that's what a lot of the news sites were saying. That's the exact phrase they were using. And the company that commissioned the portrait was called the Draper's Company. Right here, guys, the Draper's Company. That equals 201. Okay. And in the portrait, there is a monarch butterfly. And in gematria, monarch butterfly equals 201. And a lot of the articles kept saying that King Charles looks like he's in hell. A couple of different ones posted this phrase, it looks like he's in hell. And that equals 201. Okay. So what are the chances, guys? King Charles' first official portrait equals 201. The company that commissioned it, the Draper's Company, equals 201. The portrait features a monarch butterfly, which equals 201. And the phrase that all the articles were using was looks like he's in hell, which equals 201. Okay, that's absolutely astronomical for all that to be perfectly synced up. And we know that's the number of the Jesuit order 201. Okay, the Jesuit order 201, Jorge Mario Bergoglio, the Pope 201, Ignatius of Loyola, the founder of the Jesuits 201. All right, Order of Illuminati 201. Okay, we know that that's why this number is so important. Okay, but I'm going to talk more about this number later in the decode. So let's talk about this company that commissioned the portrait. Okay, this is called the Draper's Company, but the other way that they're known by is the Worshipful Company of Drapers. Okay, and in gematria, Worshipful Company of Drapers equals 336 and 366. Okay, so some interesting numbers here. Now, the reason I'm pointing that out, guys, is because we already covered all the 201s connected to the portrait. If you go 201 days after the portrait release, you're going to land on the 336th day of the year. And again, the 336th day of the year connects by 201 days with the portrait release. And again, all the 201s, right? Well, look at this. Again, the company that ordered it is called the Worshipful Company of Drapers, which equals 336. You go 201 days forward, you land on the 336th day of the year. The painter who painted this, supposedly, in Cap's cipher equals 336. Okay? So again, what are the chances of that? The painter equals 336. The company, the Worshipful Company of Drapers, equals 336. And look at this. This company, this society is currently 663 years old, which is the reverse of 663, which is also the gematria of the company. You see this? You see all these 336s and 366s and the 663s? That's not a coincidence, guys. And I'm going to show you why in a minute. I don't think it's, and again, if you go 201 days forward, it's the 336th day of the year, okay? And now this is what we're going to talk about Trump, okay? Because there's a huge connection here to Donald Trump and this portrait, okay? This portrait was released 336 days after Donald Trump's birthday. Do you guys get this? And the company that issued this painting equals 336. Okay, so Donald Trump was 336 days after his birthday, and the company equals 336. Okay, the Worshipful Drapers Company of Drapers, right? This company. And not only that, guys, but from King Charles becoming king to the portrait release is 614 days. Okay, guys, tell me in the chat, guys, why is this 614 important to Donald Trump? I know you guys know. As a matter of fact, it's right here, so you guys don't need to tell me. But look at this. What are the chances that this portrait is unveiled on Israel's birthday, by the way? State of Israel equals 201, by the way. This portrait is unveiled 614 after the king became king, and Trump's birthday is 614, okay? And from 614 last year to the portrait is 336 days. And the company that issued this equals 336. So again, Trump is tied perfectly with the company and with the portrait, okay? And again, I'm going to explain to you more in a little bit why Trump is also important to the red dragon connection here, okay? So let's talk about this portrait and how it's connected to the red dragon, all right? So first of all, the portrait was issued by the Draper's Company, okay? The Draper's Company is the current master of the Draper's Company is a guy named Thomas Harris. Okay, and this is important, guys. As soon as I saw the name Thomas Harris, I immediately thought of the book by Thomas Harris called The Red Dragon. Okay, so what is the chance of this? King Charles used to be the king of the Red Dragon, the Wales, right? And the company that commissioned his portrait with all the red in it is led by Thomas Harris. And Thomas Harris is the same name for the guy who wrote the book, The Red Dragon. Okay? All right, so just let that sink in for a second. Thomas Harris is the leader of the Draper's Company who ordered the portrait of the Red Dragon leader, right? The king of the Red Dragon, he was the prince, right? And now Thomas Harris did a book called The Red Dragon. Now look at this. Thomas Harris also did Silence of the Lambs and Hannibal Rising, okay? And Black Sunday. I've talked a lot about the movie and the book Black Sunday, okay? So all these movies are important here. But the main one I'm focusing on here is The Red Dragon, okay? And the name Harris is of Wales origin, okay? Harris is from the region of England and Wales. And again, what is this connected to? The country of Wales, the Red Dragon, all right? Now, notice that the other variations of the word Harris are Harry and Perry. Now, remember Matthew Perry? Okay? So you're going to see this name a lot. Harris, Harrison, Harry, Perry. Remember, his son is named Harry, okay? He has a son named Harry, okay? And again, this all connected with the Harris and the Harry. And yeah, so anyway, we're going to make more connections here to the Red Dragon, right? So if you guys don't know the story of the Red Dragon, it features basically the Red Dragon, the book and the movie was based off the painting, again, another painting, guys, by William Blake, which is about the book of Revelation, Revelation 12, 1 through 4. It's the great red dragon and the woman clothed in sun, okay? So this is a painting of William Blake, okay? The movie and the book, The Red Dragon, is inspired by this painting right here, William Blake painting. So the Tooth Fairy is revealed to the readers to be the production chief of St. Louis film processing firm named Francis Dollarhide. Francis Dollarhide, guys. So immediately you think of Pope Francis, right? And then you think of the US dollar, right? So there's some interesting symbolism here, but I'm not going to get into that. He is disturbed. He is a disturbed individual obsessed with William Blake painting of the Great Red Dragon, okay? And another interesting connection here is the current Prince of Wales, the Red Dragon, is William, the son of King Charles, okay? So William Blake paints the Red Dragon, and the current Prince of Wales is William, okay? So that's another connection. So the Great Red Dragon and the woman clothed with the sun, okay? So Dollarhide, whose nickname is the Tooth Fairy, or he's also nicknamed the Great Red Dragon, okay? So he has two nicknames. One of them is the Tooth Fairy, and the other one is the Great Red Dragon. So look at the gematria, guys. So Francis Dollarhide has two nicknames, the Tooth Fairy and the Great Red Dragon. Look at the gematria. They both equal the same, okay? And the reason I put this 1020 in here in Sumerian is because this all connects to the name Harris, right? Because it was Harris who wrote the book Red Dragon. And it was Thomas Harris, again, who commissioned the portrait of the king, okay? And Kamala Harris is the current vice president of the United States. Now, she's born on 1020. This guy, and remember, Kamala Harris is born in the year of the wood dragon, okay? Kamala Harris is a wood dragon, okay? And we just had two issues with wood dragons. We had Melinda Gates, who stepped down, okay? Melinda Gates was a wood dragon. She stepped down from Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, okay? Just a few days ago. I think it was the same day or the day before the painting, right? And then you had the shooting yesterday of the prime minister of Slovakia, okay? And he was a wood dragon. So you had two people in the news the last few days who were born in the year 1964 and were wood dragons, okay? So again, that's why I'm also connecting this. Now, don't forget, Kamala Harris is a wood dragon. And just so you guys know, Kamala Harris in Sanskrit can also mean Kamala. The name Kamala means red. Red. Just look it up, guys. So Kamala has huge connections to this, but I'm not going to talk a whole lot about her here. I'm just saying that the reason I put the 1020 in here is because the Tooth Fairy, which is the nickname of the red dragon, equals 1020, like her birthday. Kamala Harris born on 1020 in the year of the dragon, and she's born in the dragon year, and the great red dragon equals 1020. Okay, so that's very interesting. But anyway, let's make a connection with Donald Trump. Yeah, Kamala means lotus, but if you look it up, Kamala also means red colored. Okay, so it means Kamala means red and lotus. Just look it up, guys. I'm telling you, I looked it up earlier. Her name in Sanskrit means red and lotus. Okay, so I don't know why this is not coming up. Shoot, guys, hold on. Donald Trump's picture is not coming up. Okay, but there was a picture over here of Donald Trump, right? But I want you guys to understand how crazy this is. Okay, so pay attention to this one, guys. The guy, Francis Dollarhide, who's the Red Dragon in the movie, in the book, The Red Dragon, he was born on June 14th, 1938. Do you guys understand what I'm showing you? Are you telling me that the Red Dragon and the Tooth Fairy, he has two nicknames, the Great Red Dragon and the Tooth Fairy, and you're telling me he's born on June 14th? Whose birthday is that, guys? He was born exactly 8 years before Donald Trump, this guy. This guy in the movie. He's not a real person, of course, but he was born exactly 8 years before Donald Trump. 6/14. Okay? And he's the Red Dragon and the Tooth Fairy. So something definitely to think. And the Tooth Fairy is all about giving you money under your pillow, right? And this guy's name is Dollarhide. Oh, guys, I get it. I get it. Do you guys get this? This guy's name is Dollarhide. Dollarhide. You hide a dollar under the pillow. The Tooth Fairy, guys. His nickname is the Tooth Fairy, and his real name is Dollarhide, and the Tooth Fairy hides a dollar under a pillow. Do you understand what I'm saying right now? What a joke. I mean, that's insane. I didn't catch that until just now. Dollarhide, Tooth Fairy. I mean, something definitely about the money here, for sure. But again, Trump, born on June 14th. The Tooth Fairy, born on June 14th. Okay, so is Trump hiding the dollar? Is Trump going to be involved with the money? I think so, because Trump is all about money, right? So I think what's coming is also going to connect it to the dollar and the banks, right? And I think Trump's going to have to do with that. But now we got to talk about this connection with the Tooth Fairy or the Great Red Dragon, okay? So to facilitate, so I'm going to read this caption about Francis Dollarhide, the Tooth Fairy, okay? To facilitate the process of becoming, Dollarhide previously traveled to Hong Kong in order to have a rendering of the Blake dragon tattooed across his back and has 2 sets of teeth made, okay? So this is all about teeth, right? One set is normal for his day life, while the other is based on the mold of his grandmother's deformed teeth. Is ritualistically incorporated into the dragon persona he assumes during his killings. Due to the nocturnal nature of the murders and the Dollarhide's tendency to bite his corpses, of his victims with malformed dentures. The tabloid, the National Tattler, nicknamed him the Tooth Fairy. Okay, so again, how does the red dragon connect to King Charles and somebody with teeth? All right, so King Charles supposedly is a direct descendant of Count Dracula, okay? I've showed this in prior videos. Again, what is the connection here with Dracula? Okay? Dracula has the teeth and he bites his victims at night. And in this movie, okay, Francis Dollarhide is the Tooth Fairy and he bites his victims with deformed teeth at night, okay? So again, this is a connection because King Charles is a descendant of the real Count Dracula. And Dracula is another form of the word dragon. So again, we have Dracula, we have dragon. Okay? And this connects because, again, you can just look up the articles. King Charles III is the real life Count Dracula's descendant. Okay? And King Charles was the Vlad the Impaler. Yep, that's the guy's name, Vlad the Impaler. So now we're going to get into the meat of this. This is only going to get better from here, guys. We're going to take a little bit of a detour and we're going to talk about the Red King. Because again, this portrait of King Charles is all about red. Okay, it's obvious, right? So let's talk about the Red King. The Red King and the White Queen are alchemical allegories, and their union represents the process of uniting opposites to create a greater and fully unified product of that union. The image right here is from the Rosarium Philosophorum, or the Rosary of the Philosophers, which was published in 1550. So this is a photo from the Rosarium Philosophorum, okay? And it talks about the alchemical marriage of the Red King and the White Queen, okay? So let me read. Western thought has long identified a wide variety of concepts as being masculine or feminine. Fire and air are masculine, while earth and water are feminine, for example. The sun is male and the moon is female. These are basic ideas and associations can be found in multiple Western schools of thought. Thus, the first and most obvious interpretation is that the Red King represents masculine elements, while the White Queen represents female ones. They stand on the sun and the moon, okay? This is big, guys. So look at this picture. The Red King is standing on the sun, okay? He represents the masculine or the sun, okay? The White Queen is standing on the moon, representing... Sorry, guys, hold on. The White Queen is standing on the moon, representing the feminine. And these two are combining in a union to create... Notice that they're putting an X cross with roses, okay? And this is all connected to the Rosicrucians and the Rosy Cross. The Rosy Cross, get it, guys? Crossing the roses. So the female moon and the sun, okay? The alchemical marriage is where the Red King, again, King Charles was just depicted as a Red King, and the White Queen join together and marry. The union is not without product, of course. And this product is typically considered the philosopher's stone, okay? This is the most revered and powerful union. It's the perfect conjunction, the intimate bonding of duality, okay? So this is a symbol of the sun and moon becoming one and crossing with the rosy cross, okay? The Rosarium Philosophorum, okay? Now, it's going to get good, guys, because we're talking about a wedding of elements, the feminine and the masculine, the moon and the sun. Remember, the eclipse. The eclipse is essentially this symbol. It is the moon and the sun meeting in the sky. Okay, they're not actually becoming one, but they're meeting in the sky and they're becoming one thing for a short time. Okay. And So this wedding, okay, this alchemical wedding is connected to the wedding of Prince Charles and Camilla, okay? So their wedding was on April 9th, but it was supposed to be on April 8th, guys. So look at this. On February 10th, 2005, it was announced that Camilla Parker Bowles and Charles, Prince of Wales, were to marry on April 8th. April 8th. And the eclipse was on April 8th this year. Okay? And the eclipse is the wedding of the moon and the sun. And this is the alchemical wedding. Okay? Now, look, they were supposed to be married on April 8th, but because of a conflict, they ended up getting married on April 9th. Okay? But look at the gematria of their full wedding. The wedding of Prince Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles. It equals 223. The reverse 322, right? Well, look at this. 223 is the 48th prime number. Remember, they were supposed to get married on 4/8, and the eclipse was on 4/8, which again represents the wedding of the moon and the sun, okay? But it gets even crazier, guys. Watch this. This is the biggest slide in the whole decode. Just try to grasp this concept, okay? So, from the wedding of Camilla and Charles, they both start with C, right? CC, like 33. Camilla and Charles, like eclipse equals 33. But anyways, the wedding of Prince Charles and Camilla was on April 9th, 2005. From that day to the eclipse this year was 18 years and 365 days. So I want you guys to understand how improbable this is, okay? That means that the eclipse, which is the alchemical process of the sun and the moon, right? It's the symbol of the moon and the sun becoming one, the marriage. So from the marriage of king and queen to the marriage of the moon and the sun was 18 years, and it was also 19 years. So it was the last day of the 18th year. And why is that important, guys? Why is that important? Because in the tarot deck, the two cards, the numbers for the two cards, the sun and the moon, are 19 and 18. You guys understand this? The wedding of the two, and look at the symbol, the white queen and the red king. Okay, these are the this is the chemical marriage. Okay, she has the white horse, he has the gold, which represents the sun, and he also has the red hat, right? But this is the wedding, and this happened 18 years and 19 years before this year's eclipse. This is the merging of the 18th year into the 19th year. The moon is 18, guys. Do you guys get this? Please give me a thumbs up in the chat if you guys understand how big this is. The 18 merging into the 19 is the moon merging into the sun, like the eclipse, guys, like the wedding, okay? This is the merger, okay? And you know what, guys? This thing has blocked out the most important part of this decode. I have a bunch of 201s down here at the bottom, and they didn't even load. This is insane, guys. You got to wait. Okay. You got to wait for me to reload this, guys, because what this is missing here is going to bring it all together. I can't believe it's blocking this. I can't believe it's blocking this out. Why is it doing that? Okay, there it is. Hold on. Why is it doing that? Hold on. Why is it doing that, guys? Okay, so look at this. I'm just going to do it like this, guys. From the wedding of Camilla and Charles to the eclipse this year was 18 and 19, which is the sun and moon, right? It's two becoming one. The Jesuit order's logo is the eclipse, the sun and the moon becoming one. The Jesuit order equals 201. Okay? Now look at this. I just told you that this was all about the wedding of the sun and the moon in the sky. Look at what the gematria of sun-moon wedding is, guys, look at this. Sun-moon wedding equals 201. And eclipse ritual 201, eclipse code 201. The Jesuit symbol is the eclipse, and the alchemy, the chemical wedding is the sun-moon wedding in the sky. Okay? Two becoming one. Okay? This is what this represents. Two becoming one. Do you guys understand this? When I typed in sun-moon wedding and I got the 201, it was like, oh my goodness, are you kidding me? Like, this is what this is all about, guys. This is absolutely what this is all about. The 201 is all about this chemical wedding, okay? And that's why the Jesuits have the logo, okay? This is the wedding, the moon and the sun, right? The eclipse. And just the fact that the eclipse was exactly on the transition point between the 18 and 19 year of the wedding of King Charles and Camilla is just insane, guys. Because the moon in the tarot deck, the 18th and 19th card is the moon and the sun. Okay, that's the transition right in the middle. Okay, this is them becoming one. So yeah, let's keep going. But this is the biggest slide in the decode. If you guys take away anything from this whole decode, this is it. This is a big discovery. I don't know if anyone's ever discovered that sun-moon wedding equals 201 and that they've connected it like this, okay? Now let's talk about why this is important, guys, to this year. Because remember, we had this sun-moon wedding in the sky on 4/8, right? And 48 days after the 4/8 sun-moon wedding is this, guys. So what are the chances of this? I just told you that the sun and the moon is the queen and the king getting married in the sky, right? The sun and the moon. This happened on 4/8. And 48 days later, and the eclipse equals 48, you get this event. And what is this event called, guys? What is this event called? It's called King and Queen of the Ring. Mic drop. Do I get a mic drop here, guys? So if you weren't wondering how this is connected to this year, what are the chances of that? What are the chances that exactly 48 days after the 4/8 eclipse, the marriage of the moon and the sun, the king and the queen in the sky, you get the king and the queen WWE event? Okay? This is just like insane. Like, and look at the colors that they're wearing here. I just told you that the whole thing was about the red and the white because the Western thought is that it's the red queen, the red king, and the white queen. Okay? And what do you see on the front of this cover, guys? What are the hair colors on the front of this cover? You have this guy who has reddish hair. And if you watch him live, you'll see that his hair is red. Okay? And look at this girl. Her name is the man, Becky Lynch, but she has red hair. And look at good old Cody Rhodes. He has white hair. And look at this girl, the black girl, who's really probably a man. She has white hair. And look at them. The women in front are wearing white. What did I just tell you? In this analogy, it's the white queen. So you have the white women wearing the white in the front, and you have the white-haired king in the back, who is the inversion, right? And then you have the red hair here and the red hair here. And then you have good old Logan Paul. Logan Paul, very famous person in this world right now. But again, guys, this is the alchemical event, guys. This is the chemical marriage symbolism of the eclipse 48 days later. Okay, this is it. I'm telling you. And this happens on Roman Reigns' birthday, guys. Remember the guy who lost to Cody Rhodes one day before the eclipse? It was Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns' birthday is this day. That's when this event's happening. Okay? Do you understand this? Do you understand how improbable that is? And let me go forward here. Hold on. So I want to talk a bit about these two again because of their being together, okay? The marriage, the white queen and the red king, the sun, the moon and the sun. Look at these two. Supposedly, they're born 487 days apart, okay? That's the 93rd prime number, okay? The sun is apparently 93 million miles away, right? So that's connected to the sun, right? 93 million miles away, the sun, the moon, the eclipse, they're born exactly 93 prime number days apart. And King Charles, he's known as Charles III, that's his official title, equals 93. Okay? So what are the chances of that? Born 93 prime days apart, and he equals 93. Okay? And the sun is 93 million miles away. Okay? And that brings me to the next WWE event that's happening after King and Queen of the Ring. The next event is called Clash at the Castle, guys. Do you guys understand this? Sorry, hold on. So this is coming up on May 25th, the King and Queen of the Ring. Okay, again, talking about the merging of the King and the Queen, right? And guys, don't forget, the symbol of this is the King and Queen of the Ring. What is a ring, guys? What happens during an eclipse? Can you guys tell me what happens during an eclipse? There's a ring. And what happens during a marriage? You get a ring on your finger. So they're calling this the King and Queen of the Ring, as in the ring eclipse. I'm telling you guys, this is so obvious. So you have this, right? And now you have, after that event, WWE is putting on another event in Scotland where the Queen died. The Queen died in Scotland, guys. And the next, okay, so this is big, guys. I really want you to pay attention to this. The Queen died 5 days after the first WWE Clash at the Castle. This is the first ever event by WWE that was called Clash at the Castle. And I used this event to say that the Queen was going to die soon. Way back when this came out on September 3rd, 2022, I said that this was symbolic of the King replacing the Queen, okay? And the reason I thought that is because it was called Clash at the Castle, right? Like a fight at the castle. Like the king is going to take out the queen, right? Well, 5 days after this event, guys, the queen died. Okay, 5 days. Here it is, guys. This event, Clash at the Castle, September 3rd, 2022 in Wales. In Wales, guys. At that time, Charles was the Prince of Wales. And then 5 days after this event in Wales, King Charles became king. Okay. And then 647 days after that is the next Clash at the Castle. So what I'm telling you is that the first Clash at the Castle was a sign for an upcoming major death on the world stage. The Queen was going to die 5 days after this. And the next one is in Scotland where the Queen died at. Do you guys understand? The first one was in Wales where the king was, he was prince. And the next one is in Scotland where the Queen died. Okay? And it's one day after Trump's birthday on June 15th. And Trump has Scottish heritage. Okay? But look at this. So 5 days after the first Clash at the Castle, the Queen died. 647 days after the Queen died is the next Clash at the Castle. 647 is the 118th prime number, guys. Look down there at the bottom right. The word death equals 118. The word cancer equals 118. And the guy on the front of this cover is a Cancer, the moon, guys. What rules the moon? Cancer is ruled by the moon. King Charles announced he had cancer. And 647 days after he became king is this event in Scotland where his mother died. And on the front of the cover is a Cancer, Cody Rhodes. He's an astrological Cancer. And this 647 is 118th prime, and death equals 118, and Cancer equals 118. So what I'm telling you is King Charles better watch out 5 days after this event on June 20th. King Charles better watch out. If they repeat the pattern that they did with this Clash at the Castle, the Queen dies 5 days later. King Charles, he better watch out 5 days after this event, okay? or maybe 5 days before. So do you guys get this here? Like, and look at this. From the first clash at the castle to the second clash at the castle is exactly 93 weeks, guys. The castle equals 93, and Charles III equals 93. The sun is 93 million miles away, and Saturn equals 93. Saturn is the god of death and time. And from this clash at the castle, look at the dragon eye here, guys. See the dragon? The red dragon? 93 weeks exactly, and Charles III equals 93. Okay, this is absolutely perfectly synced. So what I'm telling you is watch out for the next two WWE events. They're big rituals. Okay. And just to go back to the event that's coming up on May 25th, it's called King and Queen of the Ring, right? And the championship match will be Cody Rhodes, the Cancer, the Moon, versus Logan Paul. And Logan Paul is the United States champion, and Cody Rhodes is the Universal WWE champion, okay? And again, these two guys, I found it interesting that these two guys were born 9 years, 39 weeks, and 3 days apart. Well, that's 9393. And Charles III equals 93. Again, this is called King and Queen of the Ring, right? And this is the king right now, Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes has the same symbol as King Charles. Cody Rhodes is CR, and the cipher of King Charles is Charles Rex, which is CR, right? So just watch out for this connection. And Logan Paul is one of the very famous people on the world stage right now. Okay. So, and there's something interesting here that he's the United States champion and Cody Rhodes is the Universal champion. If Cody Rhodes wins this match, Cody Rhodes would be a double champion. He would be the United States champion. So I'm really interested to see what they do with this. Now, remember, we were talking about the chemical wedding, okay, which is which is symbolic of the moon and the sun combining in the sky, okay? There was a movie. Well, first there was an album that came out by a guy named Bruce Dickinson, who was the part of the band called Iron Maiden, okay? And he released an album called The Chemical Wedding. And The Chemical Wedding was the fifth solo album by English heavy metal singer Bruce Dickinson, released on September 15, 1998. The record draws inspiration from William Blake. Remember, I already connected this painting to the Red Dragon, painted by William Blake, okay? And this album was inspired by the Red Dragon, painted by William Blake. And the cover of the painting is the ghost of a flea, although the name of the album and its title track derives from the Rosicrucian Manifesto, The Chemical Wedding of Christian Rosencreutz. Okay, so again, why is this all connected right now? Because you have Cody Rhodes. He's the CR, right? CR, Cody Rhodes. The Rosicrucians. The Alchemical Wedding is based off of the Rosicrucian Manifesto called The Chemical Wedding of Christian Rosencreutz, right? CR. King Charles cipher is the CR, okay? Those are my initials. So this is all about the CR right now. But so just remember this, guys, that this album is based off of the William Blake painting, The Dragon, right? And The Chemical Wedding of Christian Rosencreutz. So then after he made this album, Bruce Dickinson made a movie called called Chemical Wedding. Notice how he took out the. He called his album The Chemical Wedding, and he called his movie Chemical Wedding. Now look at the plot of this movie, guys. Chemical Wedding, okay? Upon entering a virtual reality machine, Professor Oliver Haddo, a modern Cambridge scholar, becomes possessed by the spirit of the infamous occultist Aleister Crowley, as the machine's program has been corrupted by a former follower of Crowley's. Resurrected 50 years after his death, Crowley and his occult practices anew, seeking a scarlet bride whom he can marry in an occult ceremony, which will increase his power. Do you guys understand this? This is about a resurrection and the possession of Aleister Crowley in somebody's body so that he can marry. Okay, this is the alchemical wedding. Okay. And this is where it gets kind of crazy, guys. So I've already made the connection between Charles and the Red Dragon. And now you have this connection between Aleister Crowley and the Red Dragon. Remember, this whole thing was based off of, the chemical wedding was based off of William Blake's The Red Dragon. Okay. So look at this. Aleister Crowley, the whole movie is about Aleister Crowley coming back to life, resurrecting 50 years after his death, right? So look at this. Aleister Crowley died on December 1st, 1947. That was exactly 11 months and 14 days before King Charles was born on the date 11/14. So let that sink in for a second. Aleister Crowley dies 11 months and 14 days before King Charles is born on 11/14. Okay, so that's the first one. But look, 11 months and 14 days is exactly 50 weeks. Exactly, no extra. Well, in this movie about Aleister Crowley coming back to life in someone else's body, it says he's resurrected after 50 years to seek a new bride. Okay? So, do you guys get what I'm showing here? 11/14 after his death is the birth of 11/14 Charles, which is 50 weeks. And in the movie, he's resurrected. This guy is resurrected after 50 weeks. Let me know in the chat if you guys are getting what I'm picking up here. Are they symbolizing that King Charles is kind of possessed by Aleister Crowley? Is that what I'm getting here? Because what are the chances that 50 weeks after he died, King Charles is born, and then they make a movie about Aleister Crowley being resurrected 50 years after his death? And just the whole birthday thing is enough, because what are the chances that he's born on 11/14 and Aleister Crowley died 11/14 days before? But look at this, guys. It gets even crazier. From the marriage, remember in the movie, Aleister Crowley is resurrected to find a bride. Okay, so we got to go to King Charles' marriage. King Charles' marriage was on 4/9/2005. If you go from his marriage to this movie release, The Chemical Wedding, so from the marriage of King Charles and Camilla to The Chemical Wedding, it's 3 years, 3 weeks, and 5 days. Well, that's interesting because Aleister Crowley died on the 335th day of the year, just like there's 3 years, 3 weeks, and 5 days between the wedding and the chemical wedding. And the chemical wedding is about Aleister Crowley resurrecting, and look at the amount of days, guys. Look at the amount of days. It's exactly 11/22 days between the wedding of Prince Charles and Camilla to the chemical wedding. And that's the death date. That's the death date of JFK. So I thought that was very interesting that it was exactly 11/22 days, right? And look at this. So I told you that there was the album called The Chemical Wedding by Bruce Dickinson. And this movie that he made about Aleister Crowley was about Crowley resurrecting 50 years after his death. Okay? And this album came out 50 years after Aleister Crowley died. Okay? So this movie called The Chemical Wedding was about 50 years after Aleister Crowley is a resurrection of him, right? And this album came out 50 years, 9 months and 15 days after he died. And this chemical wedding came out on 9/15. So what are the chances, guys? 50 years, like 50 years resurrection, and 9 months and 15 days, like the album was released on 9/15. Okay? And look at this. The name of the album is The Chemical Wedding. He added the in there, right? And if you type in The Chemical Wedding, it equals 1998. And look at the date, the year the album was released, 1998. So put all that together, guys. Put all that together with King Charles being born exactly 11 months, 14 days on 11/14 after Aleister Crowley died, exactly 50 weeks. Then they make a movie about Aleister Crowley resurrecting after 50 years. And then you have this connection with the wedding of King Charles and Camilla to the Chemical Wedding movie, which was 3 years, 3 weeks, 5 days. And Aleister Crowley died on the 335th day of the year. Just too much. Maybe it's a coincidence. But I don't know if I believe in that coincidence. So guess what, guys? That's the end of my slides. And I'm sweating, man. I must be really getting into it. I'm sweating doing a presentation. Anyway, let me think about what else I want to talk about. Let's go back to the main slide I want to focus on here. And that's this slide. Okay, we're going to talk about the 201s again because I think it's relevant. Whoops. Hold on, guys. Give me a minute. Let my page reload for a minute. I accidentally hit the button. So, what do you guys think? What do you think about the Aleister Crowley and King Charles connection, right? I'm going to show you some more crazy stuff, guys, in a minute. Hold on. Let's just get this to load. Thank you, Madak Ruffstock. Thank you, Sojourn 137. Thank you, Birdie. Thank you, Cozy. Thank you guys all for tuning in and watching today. I got 164 in the chat. But let's talk one more time about the 201s. Because these 201s are very relevant. And again, let's just go over the 201s, okay? So King Charles' portrait was unveiled by the Draper's Company, which equals 201. It featured a monarch butterfly, which equals 201. The articles kept saying that the painting looked like Charles. It looks like he's in hell, which equals 201. And it was it was King Charles' first official portrait, which equals 201. Okay. So that's not a coincidence, guys. You see all this? Not a coincidence. And so let's go forward back to the connection between the sun and the moon and the 201. Okay. Give it a minute to load. So again, we're going off this 201s again, okay? So remember, I told you that the marriage in the sky of the sun and the moon is the eclipse, okay? And King Charles and Camilla were born exactly on the transition of the 18th to the 19th year of their wedding. The solar eclipse this year was right on that transition, okay, which is the 18th in the moon. The tarot card is the 18th card. And the 19th card is the sun. So the transition, the 19 to 18, okay? The eclipse is the Jesuit symbol, right? The sun and the moon, okay? Two becoming one, like the number 201, the Jesuit order 201. And again, the marriage of the moon and the sun is the sun and moon wedding, which equals 201, which equals eclipse code, which equals eclipse ritual, okay? So again, all this is not a coincidence. Okay. Casey Jones, how you doing, bro? He's saying in the chat that Royal Rosicrucian equals 201. Interesting. Hold on. Oh, yeah, good one. Wow. Royal Rosicrucian, 201. Interesting. And this is all about the alchemical wedding of Christian Rosencreutz, right? And yeah, I talked about the 663 and the 336 earlier in the decode. The Latin is 1116. What do you, oh yeah, the 9/11/01 upside down. That's interesting. 9/11/01, 9/11, 2001. Yeah, it's kind of the upside down and the reverse of 9/11. Interesting. This also equals Jorge Mario Bergoglio. Let's just show this. Hold on. So Royal Rosicrucian equals Jorge Mario Bergoglio in 2 ciphers. Almost 3, because you have kind of an anagram here. So something to think about there. Thank you for that, Casey. Appreciate it. Yeah, Monarch Butterfly has the 231 also, and that was featured on the painting, right? The Monarch Butterfly. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys. How is the butterfly also connected to the red dragon, right? I talked about this movie when Bray Wyatt died, okay? So this is a very famous image. This is a very famous image of the red dragon, right? And or this is the other book in the series with the red dragon, Silence of the Lambs, right? And on the front of the cover is the death head moth. And to be honest, guys, a moth and a butterfly, they aren't so different, right? And this moth has 2 eyes. Well, this is interesting. Yeah, I don't know if this is the actual one. I'm just going to go to the actual portrait here. But just notice, you got the moth, and in the painting of King Charles, you have the butterfly, which is very similar, guys. And this moth is very special because the back of the moth looks like it has a skull on it, okay? Which kind of reminds me of the skull and crossbones. Do you guys see the X here with the skull in the middle? The X with the skull, right? And, you know, this could also be the 2 becoming 1 with the skull in the middle, right? Yeah, it's interesting to think about this. But I just wanted to bring that up considering that King Charles' painting was featuring the monarch butterfly. And again, this is all about the 201 here, guys, really. I mean, we could probably just create a whole channel talking about the 201. We may not need any other numbers. And of course, we can't say 201 without thanking Zach Hubbard for bringing that to our attention. And Joseph has also exposed that number many times. But yeah, I want to show you guys another connection with King Charles really fast. I did this slide a few months ago, but I want to really show you some crazy stuff here. This one should blow you guys away. I think this is like absolutely obvious. Joseph is saying the Catholics equals 201. Okay, well, there you go. Let's see. Let's see what you guys are saying. Catholic Pope equals 201. The Catholics equals 201. Yep. Yeah, I have seen the mirror of the portrait. There's been a lot of people sharing that on Twitter, how if you mirror the portrait, you can see like a Baphomet or a satanic symbol in the middle. Hey, maybe if you know anyone that can do photo stuff, maybe in the center of the photo, if you mirror it, it's the red dragon. Maybe it's not just a Baphomet. Maybe it's like it's connected with the red dragon. I don't know. I haven't really looked close enough. But this is all about the king connection, guys. And I really wanted to go over this because this is all about the king and the queen also, okay? But first I want to start with this ritual that happened a few months back, the Kansas City Chiefs, who just won the Super Bowl, look at this. They signed this player, okay? And again, look at the initials of Kansas City, right? King Charles, KC. So this is so obvious. KC is King Charles, right? And they signed this player from the United Kingdom. And look, from the United Kingdom to Chiefs Kingdom. This is the post by Kansas City Chiefs, guys. And they posted from United Kingdom to Chiefs Kingdom. And they posted the Wales flag, the red dragon, right? And he got signed by KC, like King Charles, who was the Red Dragon Prince. And look at this, guys. This guy's name is Louis Rees Zammit. He equals 205, like Prince of Wales, like the Red Dragon, like United Kingdom. And he's signed by KC, and they even post the Red Dragon flag, and they call it Chiefs Kingdom. You guys understand how perfect this was? Like, and look at this. Look at this. This guy was signed by KC 329 days after King Charles' coronation, and he was signed on 329. Okay? So King Charles was coronated, KC, but look, his initials are CR, just like Cody Rhodes, right? But KC was coronated 329 days before this guy was signed by KC on 329. Okay? Like, come on. How much more obvious can you get? And if you go from this guy's actual date of birth, February 2nd, 2001, to King Charles becoming king, it was exactly 8,128 days. And 8,128 is one of only the first four perfect numbers, guys. There is only 4 perfect numbers in the first 8,128 numbers. And from this guy's birth, signed by the Chiefs Kingdom, KC, to King Charles' coronation, was 8,128 days, which is the fourth perfect number. Okay? And this guy was born on 2/2, right? 22, and king equals 22. So just a perfect ritual, right? That's like this 8128 number is so big, like it's a perfect number. It's so random. It's so rare, right? And okay, so now we're going to go from king to king. And this should be undeniable, guys. This should be absolutely undeniable, okay? Elvis the King Presley was born on 1/8/1935. From his birth to King Charles' birth on 11/14/1948 was 5,059 days. 5,059 breaks down to 677, and 677 breaks down to 123, and Charles equals 123. Do you guys understand this? That is perfect, guys. From king to king, 559 breaks down to 677, 677 breaks down to 123, and Charles was born 123. His name equals 123. And from king to king, it breaks down to 123. Like, that's insane. Okay? And this 123 is a huge number also. There's a lot about this. But if that wasn't enough, guys, if this wasn't enough, right? If this connection here was not enough to prove to you, how about another one? From King Elvis's birth to the king's coronation as king was 32261 days. 32261 breaks down to the 3461 prime. 3461 breaks down to the 484 prime. And 484 breaks down to the 22nd square. And king equals 22, guys. So this number of days between two kings breaks down to the 22nd square, which is 22 times 22, and king equals 22. Let that sink in for a minute. You know what I mean, guys? Like, do you guys get this? Like, This is so perfect. King equals 22. And between these two kings, this birth and the king's coronation is the 22 square. If you break down the days, like, what are the chances that this number breaks down to this number, breaks down to this number, and breaks down to 22? Okay. Like, I don't know if I'm the only one that finds that just absolutely mind blowing, but I mean, to me, I can't believe it. Like, especially because I just showed you this. I just showed you this connection. Okay. And then you have this. And that's not even it, guys. Let's try to look into the future, because we know that Charles and Kamala have the same gematria, 1, 2, 3, 42. Okay. And again, I just showed you that from Elvis's death, or Elvis's birth to King Charles' birth, was 559. That breaks down to 1, 2, 3. Charles 1, 2, 3. Well, Kamala and Charles both equal 1, 2, 3. And Charles is married to a girl named Camila. Kamala, very similar. But look at this. From King Charles becoming king, 1, 2, 3 prime days, 677 days is a 1, 2, 3 prime. You get 716, guys. So this is the date to look out for, because in gematria, new beginning equals 1, 2, 3. So are we going to have a new king? Is King Charles going to kick the bucket around this time, or are we going to have an event connected to this date duration, right? But that's not it, guys. This will blow your minds. Okay, so I'm connecting all this 1, 2, 3. So I decided to go back from this date, because I told you I just went 1, 2, 3 prime days from he becoming king to this date, right? 7/16, right? So if you go back from 7/16/2024, 7,626 days, which is the 123rd prime, you land on this date, guys. 8/30/2003. The 1, 2, 3 prime days back, triangular days back, is 8/30/2003. 8/30/2003 is the 123rd day of the year, guys. Okay? So again, how did I get this date? I went 1, 2, 3 prime, and I got this date. And then I went back 1, 2, 3 triangular, and I landed on this date, which is the 123rd day of the year that year. August 30th, 2003, the 123rd day of the year. Okay? And in the news on this day was the death of Charles. Okay, I just stopped there for a minute, because I hope you guys are getting this. Like, this is improbable. 1, 2, 3 forward is this date. 1, 2, 3 back is this date, and Charles dies. And his name is Bronson, and Bronson equals 1, 2, 3, and it was on the 123rd day of the year. And Charles equals 1, 2, 3. So his name is literally Charles Bronson, which equals 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3. And he died on the 1, 2, 3 day, leaving in the year. And his name is Charles? Like, come on. Like, this is insane. And that's not even it, guys. If you go back from this day, the 123rd square, which is 123 times 123, you land on this date, which is the 3-2-1 day of the year, which is the reverse 1, 2, 3. So if you go back 1, 2, 3, you land on 3-2-1, and it's also February 13th, which is 2-1-3. Again, the same numbers. And guess what happened on this day? This is insane, guys. Guess what happened 1, 2, 3 square days back from this day? NBA All-Star Game, the 33rd NBA All-Star Game. Julius Erving in the game, the score was 132 to 123. And his name equals 123. He is the MVP. And the score of the game was 132 to 123. And the guy who won MVP was 123 gematria. And it was on the 3-2-1 day of the year. And it was on the 213. And it was back 123 square from this. Like, look at that. I just showed you Okay, let me go to the beginning. You guys need to like look at these slides because I don't know if I can explain it, but again, we've already talked about how the 1, 2, 3 is connected to King Charles, right? I got this date and I went back 3 different times. I went back the 1, 2, 2, 3 triangular number and I landed on this, right? And it was perfect with the 1, 2, 3s. And then I went back 1, 2, 3 square and it was perfect again. It landed on this. What was the chances that the score of this game is 123 to 132? Like, and the guy who won MVP equals 123? Like, come on. Yeah, sorry. I know I'm getting like, I know I'm annoying, but like when I'm not talking to somebody directly, I don't think people can understand that how crazy this is. Like I was just experimenting with this 1, 2, 3 number, and I just landed on perfect days with these perfect numbers. Yeah, I don't know. It's just insane. So, anyways, keep an eye on July 16th. It seems to have a lot of connections to King Charles and the death, right? And Elvis Presley equals 167. So that's also the date, July 16th. One more connection with this, guys. So Taylor Swift is known as like the queen right now, the queen of music, right? And Elvis Presley was the king, right? Elvis equals 68, okay? Taylor Swift passes Elvis for most weeks at number 1 at the end of last year, okay? She passed Elvis with 68 weeks, right? 68 weeks she passes Elvis. Elvis equals 68. If you go from the birth of Elvis to the birth of Taylor Swift, it's 20,063 days. That breaks down to 2269. That breaks down to 337, and that breaks down to 68, guys. Can you believe it? Can you believe that Taylor Swift passed Elvis, who equals 68, with 68 weeks on the charts? And if you break the days between their births down, it breaks down to 68. Okay, so in this slide, everything that I've shown you is so undeniable. This is one of my best slides ever, I think. Just how it perfectly it is. I mean, this right here is undeniable, right? I mean, come on. This right here is undeniable. It's all undeniable. Like, so yeah, I just hope I should just make a whole video about this, about like this slide, because yeah. Anyway, I've been doing enough talking, but I just wanted to present this slide here during this stream because I thought it fit together. All right. So what are you guys saying in the chat here? Thank you, Captain Flatastic. Much love to you. I hope everything's going well with you. Thank you, The Golden Angle. Appreciate it. Thank you, Think Ahead 201. Appreciate you also. Yeah, 22 is the number of Revelation. 22 chapters, yeah. Hey, Sean, brother. I hope you're doing well tonight. Let me see how long I've been live. I don't know if Sean. Oh, I'm at 123 right now, guys. I'm 123 hours into the stream. Can you believe it? I'm 123 hours in the stream and I check it. And I just had to slide up about the number 123. That's crazy. Thank you, Mary. I appreciate it. Yeah, there's something very big about this combination of 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 3, 2. It's huge connections. Yeah, definitely God's code. Like God is in control of it all at the top. We know that. Yeah, Arturo Sosa, the current, the Jesuit superior general. Okay, Arturo Marcelino Sosa. So look at this, guys. Arturo Marcelino Sosa, which is this Jesuit superior general. Okay. He equals 1, 2, 3, right? And I just told you this whole thing was about the chemical wedding of Christian Rosenkreutz. I think there's an E. Yeah. So look at this. Christian Rosenkreutz equals 1, 2, 3 in the same cipher as Arturo Marcelina Sosa. Okay. So you got the 1, 2, 3s again. Actually, look at this, guys. Look at these two. The Jesuit superior general is a very interesting cipher match to Christian Rosenkreutz. 1, 2, 3, 2, 6, 7, 2, 7, 6 is just an anagram. 2, 7, 3, 2, 3, 7 just an anagram. Yeah, that's interesting. Arturo Sosa equals 1, 2, 3? Really? Oh my gosh. Good one. Amazing. 1, 2, 3 again, guys. So there you go. You got all those 1, 2, 3s all over the place. And look, guys, wedding equals 1, 2, 3. Charles 1, 2, 3. So wedding 1, 2, 3. Charles 1, 2, 3. Christian Rosenkreutz is all about the chemical wedding. He equals 1, 2, 3. Arturo Messalina Sosa, the Jesuit superior general, 1, 2, 3. If you just type in his first and last name, equals 1, 2, 3. Kamala equals 1, 2, 3. Let's see all my 1, 2, 3s. Hold on. I've got a whole list of them in here. New beginning, 1, 2, 3. The Raven, 1, 2, 3. Chinese malware attack, 1, 2, 3. Interesting. Wedding, new beginning. Abraham Lincoln, 1, 2, 3. Paint the Town Red, Doja Cat. That's a big one. Because remember, guys, Paint the Town Red was hugely connected to Kamala and Barack Obama. And this is all about the red, right? Paint the Town Red, Doja Cat equals 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there's a lot of 1, 2, 3s here. Roe versus Wade. I think this is why Kamala is all about Roe versus Wade. Because look at this, guys. Roe v. Wade equals Kamala. I mean, how much more of a perfect match can you get than that? So Kamala is all about Roe v. Wade. She's always talking about like women's rights, right? To have abortions and stuff. Well, Roe v. Wade is a direct match to Kamala. And I think that her and Trump are going to clash over Roe v. Wade or something to do with reproductive rights. Because I'm just seeing that in the code. Does Jurassic Liars really equal 1, 2, 3? I didn't know that. Now, guys, we're not saying that Jurassic Liars. Really? Where does he equal 1, 2, 3? I don't see that. Must be, maybe it's in another cipher. Yeah, I don't see that one. Sorry. Yeah, I love how Joseph plays the clown song too. Also, when he does his decodes, and he plays the clown music. I think that's funny. Okay, so Roe v. Wade is super symbolic because it's about whether the baby be before birth is the same or separate from the mother. Yeah. It's all about this same thing I've been talking about, guys. But yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else that you want to talk about? Yeah, fish eggs are called roe. So there's a lot of water symbolism, birth, because roe, actually, roe is one letter off from rose. That's interesting. Roe is just missing the S. A roe is also a deer. But yeah, these are roe. Fully ripe internal egg masses in the ovaries. Yeah. I've actually eaten these. Believe it or not, guys, I've actually eaten these salmon roe before. Yeah, and then you have row your boat, and you have wade in the water, like you're wading in the water. So yeah, Casey's saying conspiracy equals 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it does. Conspiracy 1, 2, 3. Oh man, guys. I mean, I'm tempted to bring on Sean, but I don't know if Sean's even free. Are you even free, Sean? I got like 30 minutes, maybe. If you guys even want to make this last longer, give me a thumbs up if you want to see. Sean, do you have anything to even share, or are you just watching tonight? Or Joseph. I don't know if Joseph wants to come on too. All right, I'll put the link in the chat if you guys want to see Sean talk for. I only want to do 30 minutes though. So hold on. But it'll probably end up being over 30 minutes knowing how we are. But I want to keep it at least. Okay, the link is in the chat. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. And yeah, thank you guys so much. And hopefully you guys like the presentation. And hopefully Sean has some stuff to share here. We'll let Sean do his thing. Yeah, I don't eat sushi anymore. I don't eat any much fish anymore. It's so polluted, the oceans. Yeah, guys, please leave a thumbs up. All right, man. I'm going to do a roundtable soon. So, Joseph, if you want to come on the next roundtable, I'm going to hopefully try to get a hold of the Illusion, and I'll try to get a hold of Dr. Savage. I want to bring Dr. Savage on. Hopefully, we can get another roundtable set up. And anyone new who wants to come on and share their findings, Casey, if you want to come on too, you can. I know you probably have some stuff. All right. Sean is alive. Can you hear me, Sean?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
All right. Yeah, I'm assuming they can hear you too. Usually I ask that, but I think everything's good. So
sounds good. Yeah, hopefully I'm not like clipping or anything because I can't see the levels of my mic. Everything good?
Yeah, you sound good to me. I don't hear any clipping or anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for always bringing me on.
Yeah, no problem. I got people in the chat asking about Square Peg and Garo. Yeah, I would bring Garo on here.
Oh,
So yeah, I'll ask him too. I don't know if he'll want to, but I mean, it's getting close to June 11th. I think I need to bring him on.
It's funny because so AJ, my friend AJ.
Yeah, AJ. Mm-hmm.
So his partner, his business partner, on Instagram, his name is Joey, and they have really interesting connections. Like they actually did a live stream with Rambo on Instagram. And
really?
Yeah. Maybe it was like when March Madness started, but but yeah, so his name's Joey, and I met him in person too, and he's a really funny guy. He actually ran into Jurassic Liars in LA, and they like got a picture together and everything.
Oh, really? Huh?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Because
Oh,
I'm actually not that far from where, because I think Jurassic Liars lives in like LA, and I'm like 40 minutes from there.
yeah, Jurassic. I think he's live right now as I'm live.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he's live right now.
No,
Yeah,
that
I know
that
Joseph. I know that Joseph and Garo don't see quite eye to eye. So that might be a bit. Garo doesn't like that I promote Joseph. I'm not going to stop promoting anyone, but yeah, I'll we'll have to see if Joseph and Garo can hash things out, or at least not be too fightful on the live stream if they both come on. But
yeah, I mean, I think that's what is cool about you is that you just prioritize truth over everything. So it's not about like hard feelings or emotions or anything. It's like whoever has solid truth, like you'll talk to them. So I think that's really cool.
yeah, Joseph says he has no problem. I know Joseph doesn't. Joseph's not mean spirited. He's not going to hold a grudge. I know you, Joseph. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's just yeah. Hopefully, Garo would want to do that. If not, I mean, the invitation is always open.
Give it
But
1 second. I'll be back. 1 second.
yeah, well, the difference is, guys. Casey, are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, what's up, bro? How you
Hey,
doing?
man. I'm finishing up my mail route right now.
Cool, man.
Yeah. Hey, I wanted to mention Glenn Campbell real quick.
Okay.
He's famous for the song Galveston.
Oh, really?
Was that bridge collapse today?
No, that was yesterday, wasn't it?
Okay. So if you span the days from his death, it's the 366 prime number. I know you mentioned that 366 early on in your stream.
What's the guy's name again? Sorry,
Glenn Campbell.
Glenn Campbell.
Yeah.
Did he just die recently?
No, it was August 8th of 2017.
Okay, and you're saying go from his death to
Yesterday. And, yeah.
okay, hold on. Okay, let's see. And I'm looking at the span
Yes, that's it.
in the days you said.
Yeah, that's the 366 prime. I know you mentioned when I came on to the stream, it was funny because I looked at that date to date because you mentioned Galveston, and then I saw that 366, and you mentioned the 366 when I first came to the stream. I
Well,
was familiar with the concept.
That's really interesting because, well, the Draper company, the ones that commissioned the painting of Charles, they were 663 years old, which is the inverse of that number. And I was talking about how if you type in their full title, it equals 366. So yeah, that's interesting because we also had that Galveston thing at basically the same time, around the same time. So
I also wanted to mention real quick too, date 516 is interesting because Tokyo had that plane crash on the 2nd of January this year.
Right.
It was flight number 516. It was 516 days after lightning struck the White House on Barack Obama's birthday.
Yeah, and that 516 was connected to Mercury too, I thought, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think maybe in the Sumerian. Sumerian. Like there's some
Yeah,
I think a cipher
I think it's reverse Sumerian.
verse.
Yep, it's
And
reverse Sumerian.
yeah, you know another thing that came up. I came in at the end of Sean's live yesterday, and is how we were talking about Pegasus, and I think Sean found out that it's actually not a Pegasus in Islam. Muhammad rode what's called a burak, which is derived from the same word as Barak. And
Oh, really?
It's a wing. It is a winged horse, but it has the face of a woman, tail of a peacock.
How do you spell
a lot
that?
more. It's Buraq. It should kind of, it kind of makes you. I don't know if I remember it right, but it kind of reminds me of the locust in Revelation a little bit. I don't know why, because they have like, I think they have like faces of men or something. Anyway.
Yeah.
I just want to throw that out there real quick. I know Sean. I know you intended for Sean to
Hey,
get on.
Joseph, did you know about this creature called Barak? Yeah, this is interesting. I'm seeing it now. That is interesting.
Yeah, man. I'll let Sean have the floor. So,
Well, yeah. Thanks for sharing that. That's something to look into for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I actually, I just wanted to actually give it back to Casey because there's this, this story that he shared with me around the time you were doing all the work on the roses, and that stuff is still applicable to all the themes of all this with the marriage and the road and the all that. So I was gonna say, Casey, if you wanted to like talk about your story with the like the Dead Putter Society, I think yeah, that'd be cool if you're down, but I don't know.
Oh yeah, man. I can mention that real quick.
Yeah, so Cody, so around the time, this was like when I think I did share this with you, but yeah, it was around when when the Corona earthquake stuff happened, and then you were doing the work on the roses, and then like separately around that time, like Casey just like messaged me. He's like, "Oh, like I had this experience. I just like wanted to share it," and then it ended up lining up with all the stuff you've been talking about. And it might sound familiar, maybe not, but like yeah, I was gonna see if Casey, just like Casey, kind of like retell the story.
Okay, so I was messaging Derek on Discord. I just had this like random thought in my head, and I said, "The cream rises." I don't know why I thought to say that, to tell him that. I guess you want to think that like maybe you're going through a hard time or something, but if the cream rises, like eventually you'll come out on top. I think that's where I was coming from. But it wasn't like maybe an hour or two later, I told my kids to throw on The Simpsons, and it was the episode called Dead Pudding Society. And one of the things that they say is the cream rises to the top. And when I heard that, a light bulb went off. Like, oh man, I just told Derek this random thing about cream, and then the Simpsons episode, they're talking about cream. And so I think maybe the cream rises to the top could be like a Kundalini reference, right? Supposedly you have like a serum or something that fills up your spinal column.
Yeah, and because at the same time, I think the same day Zenith had shared with me that I'm pretty sure you'll remember, Cody, but I shared this with you. But he shared with me this stuff that he was talking, like he has a rose playlist, like a playlist about his findings on roses that he's done over time, and one of them was about Charles Manson. And I think he said there was a video where he has a rose growing at the top of his head. Zenith, if you're still in here, yeah. So Zenith, if you're still in here, you maybe you could maybe clarify that. But yeah, so you remember that, right, Cody? Like the rose growing from the top of the head.
Yeah, I watched a bit of his video about that. I don't think I finished it, but I'm trying to get through all these videos, but sometimes I just don't have time. But yeah, there's definitely something interesting.
Because you know how
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, you know how like, I guess they say that the Christ oil, like it goes from the bottom and then like rises to the top, like the Christ. Like, are you familiar with the Christ oil?
Not really, not a lot. No.
Okay. Yeah, that's like yeah, basically just maybe it's probably something that'll add on to everything you're looking into right now, because it's like, I guess I don't know what sect it is, but they say that like when what it's talking about with the Bible and Christ, it's specifically talking about this, like the Christ oil going from the lower the depth, like the sacral, like the sacral chakra, going from the bottom and then rising to the top to the crown, and the chrism, coffee girl, thanks, like the chrism oil. So that I put two and two together with like the cream rises to the top, and then Zenith was talking about the rose coming out of the top of the head, and it's like you've been talking about the rose being the representation of Christ, and it's like the Christ oil being the cream. I assume that's like synonymous with the cream. The cream rises to the top, rose grows. It's like a representation of I guess just becoming crowned.
Yeah, I think you're definitely onto something with that, because I mean, I think what you'll find is everything kind of points to that one kind of idea, you know, like that rising to the top, that coming into God, into union with God, you know, and that's kind of the, like this, it just seems like everything really does point to God in that way, like rising again out of your own death and rising into God's being, instead of living as your own self, you know, like your own ego. So yeah, I think that's definitely probably what that, I didn't even know about this, but I'll look more into it for sure.
Yeah, I think it'll be like another just I think you can find a lot just based on what you're already looking at.
Yeah. And like I said, everything I've been talking about lately has been really connected to the rose, you know, and, you know, I even found out today that blood equals rose. And you'll notice that everything, there's a lot of words that equals 21 in the reduction cipher. And I think it all goes back to the two becoming one again, the 201. And so this 21 is so big in this cipher. So many things equals 21 in that cipher, you know.
Mm-hmm. And the planets, Moon, you know, Moon, Pluto, Saturn, yeah. Moon, Pluto, Saturn, they all have that 21 reduction.
And Rose, Mary, Blood. There's so many that have that 21, man. And and it goes with the 201 as well, in my opinion. So Jesuit 21 is also, yeah. Go ahead, Casey.
I just wanted to add real quick with the cream synchronicity. It kind of pointed to Macho Man Randy Savage, because if you search the cream rises to the top, Macho Man is the top result. And that episode, that Dead Budding Society, it came out on his 38th birthday. And the day that I had that synchronicity, Macho Man would have turned exactly 38 Martian years old. And that was also the second anniversary of my heart chakra opening. and that was really connected to Jesus and his death, burial, resurrection, and his gematria as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's really a crazy sync, with how you said that to Derek, and then you turn on the episode, and that's what you hear, and it's like God telling you, like, yeah, this is where your attention, that definitely pointing you on that connection for sure.
But then I was thinking, like, because that was kind of like the title of that episode was like a spinoff of the Dead Poet Society, and like the most famous poem is "Roses are red, violets are blue." So not only is that talking about roses, but it's referring to those two polar opposites of like the red and blue and the two becoming one. And it's like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's the most famous poem. But
yeah, roses are red, violets are blue. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I see Dr. Savage in the chat. Big shout out to him, and thanks for the kind words, Dr. Savage. I noticed earlier today he was getting frustrated because people are sharing his work all the time, and he's not getting any credit. Because he was the first one, I think, to really post that photo of the photo of King Charles, but it was mirrored, and I guess a lot of people were sharing that all over Twitter. I was seeing it all over Twitter, and no one was giving him any credit for it. So yeah, make sure you guys go subscribe to Dr. Savage, and hopefully he's going to come on the next roundtable that we have. But yeah, I mean, I would have you on tonight, but I'm not going to be on any more than another 20 minutes or so it doesn't do any good. But hopefully you want to come on the next live stream if you have time. So, but yeah, big shout out to Dr. Savage, big shout out to Zenith also, and big shout out to Joseph as always, and anyone else in the chat who has a channel. And yeah, but anyway, back to what we were saying. I just wanted to take a minute to recognize other people in the chat for a minute. But yeah, what were you saying, Sean?
I think just, I don't know if it was me or was it Casey. I think Casey might have been.
Oh, okay. What were you saying, Casey?
Oh, I mean, I pretty much completed my thought there. I mean, I've always got things I could talk about. I know you mentioned the July 16th date a lot in your stream today. That's that's when they did the Trinity test. That's when they launched the moon mission was July 16th, I'm pretty sure. And that's also the date of the Great Schism. I think I mentioned this before. It's like that was July 16th of the year. Excuse me, 1054. And they say that the U.S. has performed 1,054 nuclear tests, which, that 1054 kind of reminds me of the synchronicity that Sean had with the earthquake.
Yeah, that was a huge. It seems like everyone's having big synchronicity. I've had some big synchronicities lately too. It's just like stuff's getting crazy out here.
That's why I feel like I think I had kind of mentioned it in my stream yesterday, but I feel like maybe this whole thing with the doors opening and stuff, it's like yeah, they're representing it in terms of world events, like, I don't know, whatever they have planned with like some type of collapse, bridge collapse, money, whatever. But it's also speaking to us too, where it's like we're like, because I totally feel like this year has been like a door opened. This is just my personal experience with them.
Yeah, I got to share this, Sean, because I shared it with you, but I don't think I shared it with anyone else. I've been talking about Kobe Bryant and how he's connected to doors. I didn't even know that Kobe Bryant in Japanese means God's door.
Oh, you didn't share that yet?
No. So you guys know how the last few videos I've been making, I've been talking about how Kobe Bryant's connected to open doors, the Golden Gates, the opening, like Bray Wyatt opening doors. And thank you to Ani Asaru. Ani Asaru is another channel you guys should check out. He let me know that Kobe means God's door in Japanese. That's one of the meanings. So I mean that's crazy. Kobe has entered God's door. This was like a post here. And what's interesting is it comes from the name Jacob, like Kobe, like Jacoby, like Jacob. And Jacob is also connected to the Bible a lot too. So go ahead, Sean.
I was just gonna say it's like it kind of reminds me of the Truman Show, like the movie. Have you seen that movie?
Yeah.
And like at the end, he exits through the door. You know? Remember that part?
Yep. That's like the most, I think, like, I mean, that's the most like memorable part of the movie, really, because he just leaves the whole scene, you know, and just exits out the door. And
yeah.
So yeah, but I couldn't believe that Kobe means God's door. Even on the Wikipedia, it says that right here, God's door. I don't know how we missed that, man. I don't know how we ever missed that though. Like, I just, it's interesting.
I was gonna say probably because we had already found so many things that like we just got to a point where we didn't even need any more information to like validate what we were already thinking. So, you know what I mean? Like we just already found more than we needed, and we didn't realize that there's just like way more that confirmed.
It's interesting that the name day for Kobe is July 25th, the 55th prime 257. It's interesting.
And the 257th prime is 1621. Like January 6th was on 1621. I thought that was interesting. I feel like I've been seeing a lot of things about the 1621 with January 6th, and I feel like there's a lot more symbolism behind that than just like, oh, it was like fake. You know what I mean?
Right.
I feel like, because I mean, I know that they were calling it like, they're comparing, like the fact that they were comparing it to 9/11 and Pearl Harbor, like that obviously was like, to them, like they didn't really mean that, but I think there's a symbolic reasoning behind that.
Yeah, I mean there definitely is. I agree because I mean, yeah, I don't know what to say, but that's definitely, I agree with you about that. And I think this whole Kobe thing is like, because of his death being so symbolic, I think that everything connects to him so perfectly, like with the apocalypse stuff that we found, and like I don't know, and even with Trump, like there's even a bigger connection between Kobe and Trump that I gotta find.
Do you wanna pull up, because I don't know if either of us got a chance to share it, but do you want to pull up how like his name matches apocalypse and like way more ciphers than just like 4 base ciphers?
Yeah, we'll pull it up here. Do you know which one specifically? Is it like most of them, or?
I don't know specifically, but it was like most of the first half, I think.
I know it was like the keypad too, wasn't it?
Yeah, for sure, the keypad.
Yeah, let me pull it up here.
And then both of the satanic and the reverse satanic.
I should let you do this because my computer is so slow sometimes. All right, so yeah, guys, you can see here, if you type in Kobe Bryant and apocalypse, I mean, it's it's got some off matches, but it's darn close in most stuff.
But do you
I
have
don't
do you
know
have the
why.
satanic and reverse satanic match?
It's
Or oh yeah.
it's up, but I don't know how to scroll. Does anyone know how to scroll over on this calculator? You'd think I would know, but I just can't figure out how to do that.
Is yours zoomed in? Because I was wondering, like when I sign or whenever I use mine, mine's like way zoomed out. But
Oh,
yeah,
I
do you
am zoomed
have
in.
yours zoomed in?
I am zoomed in. Yeah. There you go. Holy moly, now it's really small. But yeah, you guys can see that in a lot of ciphers. In Satanic, yeah, he's a match in keypad too. If I need to zoom out more, then geez. Yeah, see, even at keypad, he's a match to Apocalypse. So, and the big numbers too are if you go to the Greek and you type in Apocalypse in Greek, it equals 113 and 41. And just like Apocalypse in English and Kobe Bryant, it's just insane, man. That's probably one of the only connections I've ever seen that's so connected to not only the English but also the Greek. So yeah,
There's
I didn't
another
know I could.
thing.
Hey, Sean, have you mentioned the 261 and the how it connects to the rose thing?
Yeah, you read my mind. I was literally that was like I was about to say that right now. Cody, I don't know if you I didn't get to share this with you yet, but I think if you type rose cross, just type rose cross. Rosy cross. Maybe it's rosy cross.
I mean, that is interesting considering what we were just talking about. Rose Cross equals Kobe Bryant.
And the 261 hertz, how it forms a rose.
You want to share your screen, Sean, so you can show it?
Yeah, I'm trying to find what it was real quick.
Dr. Savage shared something crazy earlier. He said Kobe Bean Bryant equals 738 in Latin and devil equals 738 in Latin. That's pretty crazy.
Let me try to find it real quick, but somebody knows.
Yeah, guys, we're just kind of experimenting around here a bit. We're gonna probably stream no more than another 20 minutes. Okay, so we'll try to hold to that.
Hey, real
Yeah.
quick, Dr. J came up in the, or Julius Irvin came up in the stream.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He just got to be connected to Kobe. I'm always talking about the 326s and Kobe. How the pentagram has that 326 gematria. And then Dr. J played for Philadelphia for the Sixers.
Uh-huh.
He wore two numbers in his career, similar to Kobe, how he wore the 24 and the 8. Dr. J, he wore the 32 and 6. And he also
really?
if you look at his career points total, it's 30,026 points.
Oh my goodness. No, I did not know anything about that, but that's crazy considering what you've already said about Kobe in the 326.
And something that Sean and I, actually Seven and I talked to Seven earlier today, and maybe I'll talk about it with Sean too, is, and I've emphasized this before, is the significance of Chinese zodiac and Kobe's death. Kobe was a horse, so his opposing sign was the rat, and actually the day he died was the first full day of the rat year in 2020. He died 326 days after Shaq's birthday, 326 days before the Pope's birthday. They were both born in years of the rat. LeBron surpassed him the day before he died, and LeBron's also born in the year of the rat as well.
Huh. Yeah, there's definitely something about this 326. I think it has I mean, I'm trying to understand like the deeper meaning behind that number, but it is interesting that it is the like it's basically like the first day of because they used to celebrate New Year on March 25th, right? So like 326 is kind of like the first or second day of the actual New Year, the way they used to celebrate it apparently. So and I forget what I was looking at the other day with 326, but I saw something with connected to Kobe that was connected with the 326. I didn't register it. So I'll have to go back and see if I can. It was a date measurement from Kobe to something and had a 326 in it. And I really don't remember what it was now. But
Yeah, share my screen whenever if you want to transfer it.
oh, okay, yeah, you can probably move faster than me. So let's see. I'll do some, and Casey, I'll do some looking into Julius Irving and Kobe.
Oh, no, that's fine. Well, yeah, I noticed the Rose Cross. Rose Cross is 261. And I mean that's interesting because what Casey was talking about, which is what I also learned from 7-1's channel, is that 261 hertz in Simatics. I don't know if I can Google it, but it creates 261 hertz. It creates the middle C, or the middle C at 261 hertz. So middle C is at 261 hertz, and in Simatics, it creates the shape that looks just like the rosy cross. So let me see if I can find it. So the frequency of the middle C is 261 hertz.
Wow.
And let's see. And yeah, 7 had a really good picture, but it's like, by the way, Casey said that he got booted off, but then he's backstage again. So if you
okay, yeah, I got him.
Hey Cody, you know, with a couple more 326s, well, one more with Kobe Bryant. He was 61 weeks old when he passed, and that's the 326 prime number.
Huh. Okay, yeah, I need to look more into this 326 with Kobe myself now, because I know that Sean told me about these 326s, but I haven't had a chance to look into it yet. But there's definitely I know you're onto something.
Yeah. Oh yeah, on my old blog, I have a pretty long post about it where I talk about all these 326s. It's Casey Jones astrology, but yeah, I'll let Sean. I think he was talking about the 261.
Yeah, I'm gonna find it. It's in this video, but he has a really good picture of the. Oh, here he is. You see it? So it's like, oh man. Yeah. So the 261 hertz rose cross. This is the middle C, and this is the cymatics, the shape that it makes, which is essentially the shape of the rose cross. So it's like they know. It's like both. I guess like I mean, it goes hand in hand. It's not like this is what it's only just about this, but it's like there's just layers to all this. So just the fact that middle C is like this really important note in terms of all of music, it's kind of like, I guess that's how they were able to understand like just like spirituality, like on a just from this, there's like the microscopic level of what we're experiencing outwardly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is so yeah. You guys should this is the channel. You guys got to check out 7711. Just I've learned so much from him. But yeah, does that make sense though? Just with
No,
this whole
I mean this is a huge find, you know, I mean connected to that because I mean that really kind of like brings it together with the whole music's connection, which I already want to explore more anyways. So is Seven a musician, or is he just looking into that? Or is he just because I feel like a musician would look into that. I don't think like somebody that's not a musician. I feel like somebody that already is a musician would look into that.
I think Casey would know that.
No, he's not a musician. And man,
Oh,
it's
okay.
killing me. It's killing me, man. There's something you mentioned in your video that okay, I remember what it was. You mentioned Revelation 12, right? What, verses 1 through 4?
Yeah, I
Me?
did. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The and 7 has a great video. It's titled "The Real Revelation 12 Sign." And what basically what he's saying is that on June 3rd of the year 1769, there was a Venus transit, which is where you can see Venus going across the sun. It looks like a black dot, and it's a really rare occurrence. But what was so significant about this occurrence is that immediately after that transit, you had a total solar eclipse, and so what we that and that only happens through what's called an inferior conjunction. So basically, that's when Venus is between Earth and the Sun. That's in an inferior conjunction. So what we've been doing is Venus and Earth have like an 8-year cycle where they form a pentagram. And I even think like if you do there's a way you can trace out the past that it forms kind of a rose as well. But so yeah, I know. And then you were just talking about how what the actual New Year should be, how it should be on the spring equinox. Well, in Iran or Persia, they do celebrate their New Year on the spring equinox. So next year, that inferior conjunction will fall on the spring equinox, and it will begin the 33rd pentagram from that Revelation 12 sign date, that June 3rd of 1769. But not only that, on the 22nd, Venus, I brought up Pegasus earlier, but on the 22nd, Venus goes into the constellation of Pegasus for 3 days. And so you have all this stuff going on with Venus around the time of the spring equinox next year. And of course, I showed you the Burak and how it's significant to Islam and Muhammad. So
Yeah.
Something to that.
I mean, they're definitely because I already did a bunch of decodes that pointed to something around that time. With the blackout symbolism and the symbolism of the 85, because that March 26th date is 85 day of the year, and I did a few decodes back during last year, like pointing to that time, and I was telling Sean and I was telling a few other people that I'm looking for a clue, maybe exactly a year before, on 3/26/2024, to see if I'm maybe kind of on point about the 3/26/2025 date. And of course, exactly a year before, we got this ship crashing into the bridge exactly a year before the date I was looking at. And I don't know, maybe it's a coincidence, but like what you're telling me about that time, also with this astrology with Venus, yeah, I need to start looking more into that date too, because I do feel like there's a lot of stuff pointing to that date.
Well, and then I can go back to the year 2022 on the spring equinox. There was a Chinese plane crash on the day of a Mercury Jupiter conjunction. Their magic squares are 2080 and 136. If you add them together, you get 2216. Revelation 2216 is about, Jesus Christ is the bright and morning star, Venus. And then a week later, you had the Oscar slap. Will Smith is a Libra, which is ruled by Venus. And if you look at his span of days old, it was the 2216th prime number. You know,
Oh yeah.
Revelation 22:16. It says it emphasizes bright. Will Smith's mother's maiden name is Bright, and he did the film. Remember, he did the movie called Bright, and it gets even better, man, because about a week after that, Barack Obama goes back to the White House for the first time since his presidency, and it's today. It's today he turns 22,160 days old. Another 22:16. So
Yeah, I remember you telling me that when it was happening, because I think I
yeah.
was talking to you around that time about the
Right.
2216.
So yeah. So I mean, and I mentioned briefly like the how like if you trace the path of Venus and Earth around the sun, it kind of forms a rose. So I do think maybe there is something with Venus and the rose symbolism. So just want to get that out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think there definitely is. I've been looking into it, just considering the fact that I mean, you can actually watch videos on YouTube where they trace out the path of Venus and it looks like a rose. I think I actually mentioned it. I actually had a picture of it in my last, and Sean just had a picture of it there a minute ago, I think. But there, yeah, I mean, I think
Yeah,
it's
so
very,
I was gonna say I wanted to I guess direct everybody to this because this was where I mean what Casey was just talking about the Revelation 12 sign being back in 1769. Was that what it was? But so this is like a again this is from 7-1, but this is a picture of the women of the apocalypse. So he kind of shows it right here in Stellarium. So if you just yeah, so he's saying this is Venus, the sun behind her, the moon. Oh, actually, let me go to the verse real quick. You guys can.
well, this would
Hey,
make
actually,
sense why they say it's the red dragon and the woman clothed with the sun.
Yeah. So
real quick. My bad.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say like real quick. Kamala Harris when she was selected as VP. Um, I want to say that was either a inferior conjunction of Venus or it was. I think what it was is Venus was at maximum elongation as a morning star on that date. He was selected as VP, and it's interesting too because you think about VP. V is a 22nd letter. P is a 16th letter. You got that 2216. So,
Yeah. Interesting.
so
Okay, that I mean that is interesting, and she is ruled by Venus too, right? So, um,
right.
I mean that's interesting too because of all I've been talking about. It would just be weird, like, I'm just trying to figure out if Kamala Harris is going to become president, how that's going to happen, and how that's going to involve Trump, and it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, you know Will Smith with all the Venus coding. He's a Libra too, like just like Kamala. So he's got that under that
Yeah,
Venus rulership.
yeah, I'll have to look into that because I'm sure there's a connection with them, and that cover I just showed during my stream with the King and Queen of the Ring cover that they're having in Saudi Arabia. The two women on the front, you know, they made a point to put the two black women on the front of the poster, and one of them is named Bianca Belair. And when I think of Will Smith, I think of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, right? And yeah, and this Bianca Belair character, she's very like coded with. Yeah, I mean, I have to look more into her
Oh,
too.
hey, she's from Tennessee, man. That's where I'm from. I want to mention too. You mentioned two black women. It's something Sean brought to my attention. Is I just talked about Will Smith. Like I said, Sean brought this to my attention earlier today. At those awards, I guess it was the Oscars. Yeah, the Oscars. He got an award for his performance of King Richard, right? Which is he's the father of two famous black women, Venus, and Serena Williams. So
Oh yeah. Uh-huh. Interesting. I wonder if that has something. I don't know. I wonder if that has something to do with because Gerald Ford said this. Gerald Ford said the first woman president will happen when the male dies and is replaced by the female, and then it will be hard for men to ever get back in the office again. That's what he said. I'm just wondering if maybe the two women could be Kamala first and then Michelle Obama. I don't know. That's just a thought, but because Michelle Obama, I don't know, she does have some interesting connections, and she would. I mean, there has been thoughts that she'll run. That, I mean, there has been like talk that she's going to try to run, or they're going to try to push her in there. So I don't know.
Yeah, that would definitely be interesting to see play out. Having consecutive female presidency.
Yeah.
But hey, I gotta run. I gotta check my daughter out of daycare. So I'll catch up with you guys later.
All right, man. Take care. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Just so this doesn't drag out too long, because I know you want to end it soon. But I wanted to just show what he was describing in terms of this Revelation 12 sign with what how 7 shows it. So as you can see here, there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, on her head a crown of 12 stars. So this is like, this is symbolizing that. You see Venus, her being Venus, sun behind her, moon at her feet. So you can kind of just watch it play out. So that's like an eclipse. Okay, so he's saying right here is 6/4/1769. I'll just let it play out. And you don't need to hear it or anything. You just like see it. You can see the date up there too.
Mm-hmm.
So Venus passes the sun, and you see behind, and then right after, and then it follows an eclipse. So that was like the next day, because if you see, from like, so right when it's passing, it's 6/3 right here, 6/3. So there's an eclipse the very next day after it passed. Venus passed the sun. So you see it, and it's like almost exactly like that picture when I think he puts it side by side. But
yeah, I see exactly what he's showing there. That's actually very interesting. That is crazy.
Yeah, you can see it right there. Oh, dang it. Yeah, so you see Venus, the moon at her feet, and then that's the eclipse.
Yeah, man,
So
that's like undeniable. That's undeniable to me. That's pretty clear.
Yeah.
Hopefully everyone in the chat is getting this. This is pretty interesting.
And the reason why he ties 8/11 into this, because 8/11 is like, he's like the 8/11 godfather. It's because I believe this began a Venus pentagram, because you know how there's the pentagrams. I believe this might have. No, I don't think this started it, but the Declaration of Independence, it was signed 8 months, 11 days after the completion of. It was 8 months, 11 days after the completion of the Venus pentagram. Maybe this did start it. Okay, so sorry if I'm wrong. It's pretty close to this. But I think this started a Venus pentagram, and after the completion of the Venus pentagram that this started, the Declaration of Independence was signed 8 months, 11 days after that.
I see.
Something like that. But it's like,
well, that would make sense. That would make sense.
Yeah. And yeah, because a lot of people think the Revelation 12 sign was the one from, have you seen it? Like the one in September 23rd, 2017. Have you ever seen that one?
No, I haven't. I haven't really looked into this Revelation 12 sign at all.
Because that one's almost like mainstream. Like you could even like Revelation 12 sign 23:17. Like I think there's like, yeah, it's this one's basically like mainstream, and they claim it was, a lot of people claim it was this day, and because like I don't know what I did. I'll just show you here. But yeah, so like they claim that they claim that the Virgo is the woman, and then you see Mercury, Mars, Venus, and the sun, like they're lined up.
Yeah.
And then they say that these are like the 12 stars, the Regulus, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So a lot of people say that this is the Revelation 12 sign, but I think it's more so probably this one.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I definitely see more of what they're describing in that is definitely more the one that 7 showed. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's the only person I've ever seen show this, so it's kind of interesting. But besides that, I think just a few things I wanted to bring up, like, and then we can end it soon. But yeah, maybe some verses that might be really like they might correspond a lot to like what you're finding right now with the marriage and all that, because there's the verses about like the bridegroom or the bride of Christ and stuff. Like I saw John, the holy city, and I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. So there might be some connections with this, like depending on what verse of Revelation this is. And
actually, as a matter of fact, I believe that when I was reading one of these articles about the chemical wedding, that actually mentioned this this verse, I believe.
Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense too, because like I mean, when you think about it, like how you're basically what you're showing, it seems like this makes more sense about what it's really saying, as opposed to like, you know, like it's not like, I don't know, like do people really think that we're all gonna marry God? Like we're each gonna just like we're gonna all wear like dresses and like we're gonna like each have a ceremony and we're gonna all marry him? Or is there like a deeper meaning behind it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't think it's going to be something that I think that we can't even explain what it's going to be like, because we can only think in terms of what we perceive. So we can only think in terms of human being experience, like experiencing wearing robes to a wedding. But a true spiritual experience that's beyond this world is not going to have any. Again, there's not going to be any, like, in my opinion, any similarities. It's going to. I think it's hard to even explain. Like I said, I don't even think you can like say this is what's going to be like, because, like, yeah, I mean, you can. Even the Bible can say, like, you know, this is how it's going to be. But again, the Bible is only using limited terms. God is speaking through the Bible in limited terms, where you're going to the infinite God, and you're expecting to be able to describe that in terms of something that's finite. That's something that, like, words can describe the glory of God. No, I think that any terms or words or ideas are always going to fall short of describing what it's actually going to be like you know.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, because it's like like any word that can describe something basically just creates the limitation of what that thing is. I guess if that's what you're saying, because it's like if you can describe it, like if you can describe it like spot on, then you're proving its limitation, right?
Right. I mean, anything that has borders, anything that can be described is not the trueness, fullness of God, because like it's there's always this limited nature of everything that we do, you know, is because we're only seeing things from our own perspectives, and we're not trusting the infinite, so of God's power, you know, whatever that is. We don't really know what that is even like. I mean, we can only experience it from our limited perspectives. So again, that's like a conscious awareness of that. And I think we just like, so I think that's the alchemical process, you know. That's what it's saying with the rosy cross. The rose cross is supposedly the last step before you absolve yourself into the absolute, which is God, right? Which is Jesus. And you basically, there is no more you. There is no more Cody or Sean or anyone else. There is only God at that point, because you've absolved yourself into that. I just don't see that. That's not the way I, see like there's going to be a bunch of different things. You're going to literally experience things as one with God. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the best I can describe it. Again, that's even not going to be good enough either, but that's the best I can do.
No, it makes complete sense, because it's even beyond what you could even picture it would be like, what you could even imagine with what we're our limited abilities to imagine is just based on what we're capable of, and it could only be beyond that. It could only be beyond something that we literally can't grasp.
I like to think of it like this. Imagine if you could beam yourself up above the earth and look down on every human being and every process that's happening on the earth at the same time. And imagine if you could somehow look at that all at the same time. Every process, I'm talking about every chemical reaction in every cell of everybody's body, and every thought in everyone's mind, and every plant's chemical reaction in the ground, everything that's happening at the same moment. Could you even take that in? Or would you just explode because you couldn't even take it in? You can't. It's like trying to force all of that into one brain is impossible, because we can only see it from our limited perspective. So just imagine trying to go above the earth and at the same time experience and know and understand everything that's happening at the same time, all the reactions, all the thoughts, all the things that are happening. And that's not just in people, that's in every process that's happening on this earth right now. So like you wouldn't be able to comprehend it. There would be no it would just be a blur, in my opinion. It would just be like, that's why I'm saying whatever God is, whatever consciousness is, whatever that is we don't understand it. I mean, fully, because we just have to surrender to it. That's it. That's the key, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that is what the Bible that is what it really is about, and what it says, like that's why it does say to die to yourself.
Yeah, exactly. That's just the simplest way to put it, is to surrender to God, surrender and forget you even exist, essentially. Just always be meditating. The Bible says many times, meditate day and night on God, not on yourself, not on any person, just on God, right? So like I think that's kind of always keeping your attention on, and never letting anything distract you from God, and trying to divide you from that, because that's where you become feeling like a separate little ego devil self, like that's when you suffer, and that's when you make others suffer, because you just can't keep your eyes on the prize, I guess. If that makes sense.
Yeah. There's another one too, another marriage verse might be good to look into. 19:7. Let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife hath made herself ready.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever looked into the verse? Have you ever looked into the verse where it says the sun and the moon won't give its light because in the lamb will be the light or something? Are you familiar with that verse? I feel like it has so much to do with this, but let me get up. Something like that. Oh, okay, yeah. So Revelation 2:1-23. And the city had no need of the sun, and neither of the moon to shine in it, for the glory
Right.
of God did lighten it, and the Lamb is the light thereof.
Exactly. That's it. I mean, this right here is the merging of your separate self, the person that the devil that you think you are, into God's, basically surrendering, dying. And
the picture that you showed earlier, it has the lamb in between the red king and the white queen. Did you notice that?
yeah. Yeah, and yeah, like this verse, I'm glad you brought this one up, because this is like a really good way to look at it. Because when it says, and the city had no need of the sun nor the moon, so it had no need for duality. That's what that's saying. There was no more division there, because as soon as you start talking about two opposites, right, you start thinking about duality. You start thinking about this and that, or this against that, right? Feminine, masculine, sun, moon, left, right, up, down. So as soon as it says, and the city had no need of the sun and no need of the moon. So this is the revelation. This is saying, I have no need of this duality anymore. I become one with God. And that's when the glory shines, right? Because that's what it's saying. As soon as you come to that revelation that I have no need of duality, then immediately that love of God, that light shines. And that's why it says, for the glory of God did lighten it, because that's immediately what would happen if you have that revelation. And that's what happened when I read this. I had that immediate revelation, like, yeah, I have no need of the sun and moon. I have God. I have that, So,
and I feel like that's
then,
really what this image is showing. Like, I know, like, some people can disagree, but when you look at the Masonic arch, with the one with this one, yeah, I mean, I feel like that's, or no, there's a better one. This one, or I guess, okay, it's like a side, you can look at it like side by side, but you see this, the sun and the moon, the arch, and then you and then you see like this, and then it's like, I feel like this is the I feel like that's what this is representing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's probably right about that. I think that all these symbols are always pointing to, whether they're being used for evil, I think they're always giving glory to God, for sure.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like it's like, I don't know, like the athletes, celebrities, I think they kind of know that they know these things. I think that is what separates them from us. Like, I think they do understand this stuff. So it's like, I feel like the lessons, it's almost like they're fulfilling their role to teach that lesson, that like, oh, like, you think that it's us versus them. Like, you think that you have to divide yourself from us. Like, if I'm talking as if I'm one of them, but they're like, oh, like, you think that, but then by the end, when you keep going down the rabbit hole and you keep learning, you realize that there is no us versus them. And so I feel like they're like fulfilling that role to like, I guess, put people through that alchemical process.
Yeah, exactly. I think God is ultimately using everyone at the end of the day to bring everything together to where it needs to be. So like the biggest thing is, you know, just like being where I'm at. I just feel like every day when I'm doing my research, when I'm living my life, what I'm really always, whether it doesn't matter if I'm learning something, I just try to simplify it too. Like I always make sure I stay in this presence of God and try to remember that everything else is going to absolve into that at the end of the day. Everything is going to reconcile with God at some point. So all of it is really just something I should be grateful for, living even in this dualistic world of this pain and this suffering that everyone's going through right now, because everyone is really suffering in their own way. But for me, I don't suffer much because I'm blessed, but I've suffered a lot in the past with many things. So I feel like my own relationship with God and my own walk through everything I've been through has really taught me to just be present with God in the moment, try to make sure I'm balanced, not do too much research, and also spend enough time with my girlfriend. I'm blessed right now that I don't have to work too much, like with a real job, but that's going to change probably here soon. And my girlfriend also. So there's so much, there's so much to deal with in your daily life sometimes and so much research to do that sometimes you just don't simplify it, and you just don't actually just spend time in silence with God and not even being asking for anything, but just to be silent and be conscious and just be present with that. So I don't know. I even need to do that more. So
yeah, it's something I try to come to terms with too, because I think like, all right, I know that things have been like everything's been, or God has been leading me to where I'm at now with not having a job for like a certain amount of time, giving me the opportunity to get to know you and other people in Casey and everyone else who's been in this community. And I've been able to share what I've been able to share because I think God wanted that information to be shared. And I was able to do that, or I had a lot of motivation to do that because I knew that a lot of the people that I learned from that were like, I considered mentors like Casey and Seven, that I knew that they were like really busy and weren't able to, because if I honestly don't even know if I would have like had the motivation to start my channel if they were active, like posting every single day, then I would have just been like fine with that. I would have been like, cool, like I get like everything's being covered, everything I would have thought to say, like everything's being covered. There's nothing I really need to say. But I knew that they were really busy, and I was like, oh man, like I want this stuff to be seen, because it's obviously an extension of their work, but also truth too. Like it's stuff that I just can't accept that it wouldn't be seen by other people. So having that space that gave me the chance to do that. But everything's like, part of God's plan. And I could totally see like with me just getting this new job. And if I am really busy and like busier than like so busy that I can't really share as much as I've been, then that might open up the space for somebody else to do that, to follow my footsteps too. And then maybe there might be people who are following me or keeping up with my work, and then it might motivate them to do the same thing. And like, maybe we're all just like, everything's just part of God's plan, and he's using us for a certain purpose at a certain time. And then, it's time for it, then we'll have to move on, and other people will, what I mean? So maybe it's like his way to help other people. It's just all part of the overall process. And I would like to think that I could do this like for a lot longer, but if that's not the case, then that's just part of God's plan, just based on whatever I've already seen him do for my life and the Corona earthquake and all that stuff is just proof that everything is being everything's just in his hands. So
Yeah, and you've been a blessing to me, Sean, with just having you here to decode with, and I have so much more fun when I'm on here with you and other people too, with KCU, and I just like to share community with people. That's what I do this for, guys. Everyone in the chat, I'm here to be in community with people who are awake and ready to accept and to just surrender into the hands of the Almighty, and for me, I don't want drama. I don't care about material life anymore. I gave that up a long time ago. I just really enjoy community with people, and I want peace with people also. So that's why I try to be the peacemaker, and hopefully people in this community can always remember that. And yeah. So I mean, it's hard to explain what I'm really wanting to say, because again, I think the truest things in life cannot be put into words. But so I like silence a lot of times. I'm a very silent person, even though it seems like I might talk a lot. I don't like to talk a lot in my day-to-day life. But when I'm describing these rituals and these symbolisms and all these other things, I obviously talk. But yeah, and I think you're right, Sean. I think as you go through life and you learn, you're in the right place at the right time, and whatever you're supposed to be doing in your life, you'll be doing. So if you're supposed to be decoding more, if you're supposed to be working more, that's where you're supposed to be, and just kind of surrender to that. And and if it's not right, God's gonna, it's gonna not feel right, and you're gonna do something different. You know what I mean? You're gonna do whatever God puts on your heart to do. So just follow that instinct or that guidance, right? Ever. So I mean, I think that's what I do. And again, I truly believe you can't even get off your path. Like once you're on it, I think that it may seem like it. I think God can push you, reality always pushes you where you need to go. And yeah, that's just at least that's what I've experienced with my own situations. And I would have never thought I'd be here in Germany with the love of my life, with amazing friends and connections on a YouTube channel where I'm able to make a bit of money and survive on, and just a simple life I'm living. The only problem I have right now is the fact that I have to leave my girlfriend every 3 months, and we're not ready to get married yet, so we can't really stay together. But that's the only issue I have in my life right now. But you're never going to have a perfect life. There's always going to be some sort of trial. You're never going to, even if that was to be fixed in my life, there would always be something else. So you're always going to have something that's putting you through a test, a trial, to make sure that you can stay in the moment and stay with God and stay peaceful and stay childlike, be like a child. So
yeah,
that's just kind of my take. And yeah, I just appreciate you, and I appreciate everyone in the chat. So, but yeah, I'm getting ready to end it, I think, because I'm getting a bit tired. And but yeah, I think this is a good way to end. Have a nice solid talk. And yeah, if there's anything else you want to say, just you can say it now. So
I guess I think I just want to say, like when we see all these symbols and stuff, and like the way that they're portraying it, like specifically with the WWE, I'm seeing it all from like I'm seeing it all really like optimistically, because it's like I don't necessarily feel like they're mocking me. I just feel like if what they're showing is symbolizing what it's actually symbolizing, then it's there to show to teach us a lesson, or to show us. And I've actually learned a lot from them. I really have. I can't deny that. I've a lot of what I know, I actually owe them a lot. And I think that's kind of another part of. I think that's the last. That's kind of like last thing I really want to say, but it's like I think that's the challenge that they put in front of us is like they'll show this blatant symbolism, and it really is up to you to decide how you want to, you know, interpret that, like how you would interpret, like if something bad were to happen to you in your life, like a really bad breakup, which that's, something that I've experienced, and you can decide to yourself if it's bad or if it's good. And I like things like that, like I had things that would happen to me that were bad. I always considered them bad, but where I'm at now, I'm like, thank you for thank you for giving me that experience and helping me get through it so I could learn from it. And I'm so like I would be such a different person without that. So I really feel like that's kind of the challenge that we have whenever we see these symbols, and it's like up to us to have a spiritual maturity about how we interpret them. So
Right. Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's always going to be something that's brought to on our table that we have to go through, but at the end of the day, like I said, these people, again, I think they're being directed at the end of the day, just like in the book of Job. I always use this reference for the Bible people. In the book of Job, the devil is allowed to test Job by God. The devil is a tool of God. So any challenge or adversary, again, and Satan just means adversary. So anything that's going against you, that's an adversary. That's Satan, right? So in the book of Job, Satan does so many things to get Job off the path, right? But at the end of the day, Job could never get off the path. He's always going to do, and God knows that, right? So there's always that challenge. And these people are always pointing, like you said, I mean, you could say these people are evil, and there are evil people in the world that are just egoic and satanic and completely lost, but those people are where they're supposed to be right now, unfortunately to say, and that's just the world we live in right now. So I just I kind of look at it like you do, just I don't try to look at it too negatively or too dark. I just try to keep it and just remember God's in control at the end of the day. So but with that being said, I think I should end it because it's getting late, and I don't want to talk too loud because everyone's sleeping here at this house. So, but
also, if you are free, or if anyone else is free tomorrow, I'm going to be doing another book review with AJ, probably around 12 p.m. Pacific time. So if you're free, if anyone's free, there's probably gonna be another earthquake, so look out for that.
Yeah, we might get another live on air earthquake from Sean.
Yeah, so. Yeah, he has something like an interesting book to talk about, because he found a lot of things about Klay Thompson, because he actually went to high school with Klay Thompson and played basketball with him. So
really,
yeah. But wow. So yeah, he's gonna share some stuff about that. So if anyone's interested in that, it'll be fun.
All right. Well, you guys heard it here. Check out Sean's channel tomorrow. Make sure you leave the link if you want, Sean, in the chat now, if you want, to your channel.
Oh yeah, I'll do that.
And with that being said, we'll let Sean leave his link, and then we're going to sign off. And thank you guys so much for watching this whole thing. I know it's been a long one, but yeah, all glory to God. Meow, thank you so much. And Dirk Zink, thank you so much also. And Gigi, thank you. Mon, thank you. Birdie, thank you. Coffee Girl. Casey's also in the chat still. Thank you, Casey. Yeah, and thank you, Sean. I'll definitely try to catch your live tomorrow. And also, yeah, Joseph, thank you. Much love to you, brother. Yeah, and there's Sean's link, guys. So make sure you go check out his video tomorrow with his friend AJ. Always good stuff there. And yeah. All right,
also,
guys.
Yeah, like you said, support Dr. Savage. Dr. Savage, we're here for you.
Yeah, Dr. Savage also. I'll leave the links to all the channels in the comments of this video, guys. So if you're new here, make sure you check out all the links. All right, guys. Take care. See you guys later. Peace.